Hello everyone, and welcome back to the homestead. It's the afternoon and we're spending some time out here in the garden. Jackie took off this week for vacation and I have 2 days in a row off. So this morning we went to one of the local state parks and had a fun day on the beach there. Now we're back at the farm doing some stuff in the garden.
Finn, what are you rolling in?
You rolling in poop? What are you rolling in? Before we start talking about this thing, I want you to head down below and hit that subscribe button, so that way you can stay on top of all the cool tractor and farm related things we post on the channel. Thanks. Last week in one of our videos, I talked briefly about this thing. This is a County Line 4-foot subcompact box blade. It's made by Tartar, right here in the USA. County Line is basically Tractor Supply's brand, and Tartar makes the implements for them. I've talked about this box blade in a previous video where I was going over the changes that we've had to make as a small farm due to COVID. And one of the changes was simply getting more patient with lead times on equipment and things like that. This has been on order for me for about 3 months. Despite the companies working as hard as they can and as fast as they can to get these things out to the market, there's still a backlog of people that are waiting on implements. So this is finally in, which is awesome. I've been waiting on this thing because it's an integral part of the resurfacing of the driveway that we're going to be doing. It's been since 2016 really, where the driveways needed some work. When we moved in, we knew that it needed some help, and both Jackie and I driving all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicles, a bumpy driveway isn't really a big deal for us. So we've kind of put it off, but now it's to the point where people who are visiting, delivery people, we need to get them up the driveway too. This is going to be a big piece of the puzzle with that whole driveway project. We were hoping to do it this summer. I'll talk a little bit more about the reason why we might be pushing it off a little bit later in the video. But for now, let's get this thing out of the truck. Let's get it onto the tractor. And we probably won't be doing any work with it tonight, but we'll get it on the tractor, we'll get it hooked up, and even as ballast on the back of the tractor, it's going to be super helpful. I'll set you guys up over here while I get the truck turned around. It was easy enough. Now my game plan with this is I am going to lower the tailgate. I'm going to take the bucket off the tractor, and so I have just the skid steer coupler up front, and I'm going to bring the tractor in and lift this up. It's 300 pounds ish, I think. I forget what exact weight was on it, but I'm thinking if I get a couple straps on it and wrap them around the front of the loader, should be good. All right, it's out. Definitely sketchier than I expected. I realized once I got it up in the air and everything tensioned that I had made a mistake in using the pins to provide like a lifting point, kind of like almost like a friction space to hold them. And if they had slipped off, it wouldn't have been catastrophic. It would have just kind of jostled the load a little bit, but it wouldn't have been good. But it is off. We're gonna get this thing on now, the back of the tractor. I'm gonna pull the tractor in and back up to it. We've got the Messick stabilizers on there, so we will set those all the way out and then move them in to keep things stable on here. And yeah, let's do that. First time I'm hooking up this box blade to the tractor. When I lift this, can you just kick this log under it? Yep. I'll tell you what, it is sticky out. I'm sweating. I'm not tired, it's just I'm lightly sweating and nothing is evaporating. It's almost like we're at that wet bulb stage where things just don't evaporate. If it gets wet, it stays wet. It's on. A little bit of learning experience, you know. I don't run 4-point implements a lot, so it is on. I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna move the tractor and then I'm gonna pick the bucket back up so we've got that on and we can see what this whole thing looks like. All right, so garden waste is dumped down the way that Jackie wanted dumped. Box blade is hooked up and on. I took the time to flip the rippers up. I did put the box blade down on the way down to dump that stuff. I didn't have the camera with me, so I didn't film anything. But it did work pretty well. I had the rippers all the way down, which is almost 6 inches. So the box blade actually, it wasn't digging into the driveway because the driveway is so firm. It was sitting on top of it. But I did manage to fill the box up a little bit. The Messick stabilizers, really psyched on those. It was easy to hook up the box blade with those stabilizers, just sent all the way out. You know, this is my first time really hooking up a 3-point implement. I've done it like once or twice before. So it went really quickly having them out. And then when I got it to where I needed to be, I just pulled the pin on the stabilizers, rocked the 3-point arms over the pins, and just kind of rolled with it. Now that I've got the pins back in the stabilizers, this whole thing is super stable on the tractor. It's not going anywhere, which is really nice. That's especially going to come in handy if I want to use the box blade to ditch. If I adjust it so that the one side sits a little bit lower, having that kind of angle on the box blade, it does kind of want to twist it a little bit on the back of the tractor. So being able to keep things stable will be nice. Finish on the box blade is what it is. You know, the welds look good. There's decent penetration. Really nothing bad to report on that. First impressions of it, it looks fine. It's a box blade. It's not really rocket science. Lastly, let's talk about this driveway now down there and the possibility that we now might not do the driveway this summer. In a previous video, I'd actually asked you guys for help and input on what to do with this driveway and how best to resurface it. And we got a lot of positive comments, a lot of people recommending the box blade. That was where I was leaning already, but it kind of reassured me going there for it. Here's the thing though, I've also been saying for a while that we were gonna have some of our property logged. Not all of it, but of the 10.5 acres we own, we're looking really hard at 4 particular acres that we wanna log out, just to have a little bit more area to do agricultural type things. You know, whether it's a bigger garden, whether it's a little bit more grazing area for animals. Really, we've got some space to expand a little bit on here, and we want to increase the size of our patch of green, if you will. Not that we're just going to do grass on it, because it's not going to be just lawn, but just a little bit more space around the house. So we've talked to a couple people about logging, and a couple people have come out and looked, and last winter we actually had somebody that said they wanted the job, and life apparently got away from them. They were on another job and then they were going to come here. That job got away from them. Life got away from us, and we just never really followed up. And last winter, nothing got logged on the property, even though last winter was supposed to be the winter. And when we had discussed how that job would go down and where they would do the logging, we had discussed putting a landing about halfway down the driveway. And the landing is the area where they will bring the logs to be picked up by a log truck. You'll park essentially a whole bunch of logs right there, and then the logging trucks will come by, they'll get loaded up, and then they'll take off. So we had discussed putting that halfway down the driveway, and that was all well and good. However, now we find ourselves in the situation where I don't know if I want to redo and put the effort in on redoing the driveway just to have a bunch of logging trucks coming up and tearing that driveway up that we've just put so much work and effort into. We haven't confirmed yet that we're definitely doing the logging this winter, but it's back on the table, it's being talked about, and I think because of that, I kind of want to hold off just a little bit on putting the work into the driveway, or at least seeing where the logging thing goes. There are permits we have to file. In New Hampshire, you have to file what they call a notice of timber sale or notice of timber harvest, something like that. Basically letting everyone in the town know that we're planning on selling timber and from our property, and if anybody has any problem with that, or they want to, I guess, get the land surveyed to make sure we're not going to be cutting any of their timber, they have the ability to do that. Something we do up here. So I guess really not too much new to report. There's the new box blade, that's pretty cool, but now the driveway project, which I was hoping to kick off in the next couple months, might get pushed a little bit further. It might be a springtime thing, so we'll see what happens. The logging definitely needs to occur in the winter here because of the amount of moisture that's in the ground around here. The ground needs to freeze up solid before they can bring in skidders. We'll keep you posted on all the stuff going on to the logging. For now, I'm gonna go in the back and I'm gonna help Jackie set up that cattle panel on the pole beans so that they are not falling over. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.